Hello everyone, this is Sandal Kotawala from Alfaleus Tech. I thank the organizing committee at Arvind Pondicherry for giving me this opportunity to speak at this great platform. Today I'm sharing my story, a story of building a medtech startup from a college dorm room, a story of how an organization and a few people enabled me to become what I am, and a story about how an ecosystem can enable many more entrepreneurs to come. My story begins in July 2015. My story begins in July 2015. I was an undergrad student at VIT University Vellore, and we got this mail. A team from MIT Media Lab was visiting some place in Pondicherry. To me, it was like God visiting from the heaven. I was all excited and wanted to attend this anyhow. I made an exaggerating PPT and shared it to get accepted. And guess what? I got an invitation right away with a phone call. The voice on the other end was very calm and yet powerful. That was the first time I heard Dr. Venkatesh. And the next day, I was at Arvind. It didn't feel like hospital at all. There was no hospital-like smell or noise. Rather, this was like an ashram. Open corridors filled with sunshine, lush green gardens with blooming flowers, and most importantly, smiling and contented people. It was great meeting team from the MIT. And I also learned that the microscope video recording units were too expensive in those days. Me and Devang tried doing something with a Raspberry Pi camera. We used to test multiple image settings, contraption that would fit on microscope, and different type of adapters that would fit different kind of microscopes. Hospital became my second home, and I used to spend my weekend and holidays at Arvind. And they were kind enough to let a college kid roam around in their campus. One day, I visited clinic for an eye test. With high myopia and family history of glaucoma, I was suspected for glaucoma. I had to undergo something called a visual field test, among other tests. This was a particularly difficult test. I was required to sit for almost 15 minutes in a tiring pose, something like this. And I was supposed to press this button whenever I see this blinking dot. So this is how a typical test looks like, and almost it takes somewhere around 6 to 8 minutes per eye. So after 15 minutes, I got to know that I had to repeat the whole test because it was not reliable. I felt terrible. An idea came. Why can't we do something like this in popularly available virtual reality headsets? I discussed the idea with Dr. Venkatesh, and he said it was possible. But even I didn't know how to read a perimetry report, leave alone making a perimeter. Doctors at the clinic came to my rescue. Dr. Swati, Dr. Pavan, Dr. Kavita. Discussions with them helped me to understand the significance of perimeters. I also learned how expensive these devices are. After that, many nights were spent at hospital, library reading books, and in college dorm room coding things. It took about a month to come up with the first piece of code, and we were ready to test it. Next weekend, we came to hospital and requested a couple of people in waiting if they would like to wear this headset and do a test. We did a few tests and it didn't work. After a few weeks, an old lady was kind enough to be the test subject, and guess what? It worked for her. To make a refined version, we needed spare smartphones, two of them. Dr. Venkatesh got them for us. Moreover, he requested a $8,000 US dollar grant from Arvind Eye Foundation, and they were kind of enough to approve it. We bought a 3D printer from it, and using that, we created our first 3D printed prototype. It took another 1 year and 5 iterations before we arrived at a version that we can clinically test. We presented our findings at GSI 2017, Glaucoma Society of India 2017 as video presentation and won an award. Dr. Venkatesh connected me to Dr. David Friedman, a professor from Johns Hopkins, and he agreed to validate this device in collaboration. His student Lucas Mees traveled all the way to India from the US to conduct a clinical evaluation. Personally, this was a great learning to me. And I learned the discipline and rigor required for good research. We later published our findings in Journal of Glaucoma. Now the question was, we developed the device, but how do we get people start using it? That was the time AIOC 2018 was coming up at Coimbatore. Should we put up a stall at AIOC? Well, a small stall would cost about 5 lakh rupee, and even a single day visitor pass is rupees 10,000. I had a total 25,000 in my bank account. Dr. Venkatesh had put a word to people at Oro Lab, and they were really helpful to us. They gave us some space at their stall. And that's how we showcased our product for the very first time at All India Ophthalmic Conference. And there were these two kids with a VR headset showcasing at one of the world's most renowned ophthalmic conferences with no background in eye care or no financial backing. There is a famous dialogue from Hindi movie कि अगर किसी चीज को दिल से चाहो तो पूरी कायनात तुम्हें उससे मिलाने की कोशिश में लग जाती है. I think something very similar happened with us, and a lot of people in the journey supported us with no financial or no motivation to do so. I mean, they were just doing it for the sake of doing it. In February 2018, I incorporated Alfaleus and received a seed fund from our college incubator to kickstart the venture. My mentor and the thesis guide, Dr. Arul Madivarman, helped me to refine the design and guide me to finish my bachelor's degree. Eventually, we put up a stall at Tamil Nadu Ophthalmic Conference, Puduview 2018. And that's where we met our first customer, Dr. Balaji. And that's where Dr. Venkatesh introduced me to Dr. Anand Sivaraman, an MIT Boston alum and a science-driven person running a company called Remedio. Remedio became our first investor and helped us at commercialization of this product. With Remedio, we received expert support to redesign the product as per medical standards. And we named the product C3FA, C3 Field Analyzer. We showcased it at All India Ophthalmic Conference 2019 with Remedio. And in 4 days, we were able to book orders worth 40 lakh rupees. This was the world's first commercially available visual field perimeter at the time. And in 2021, we developed even better version called Intelligent Vision Analyzer, IVA.
Welcome. We are proud to introduce IVA, Intelligent Vision Analyzer, a head-mounted autoperimeter developed by Alfaleus Tech. IVA is a low-maintenance device which is portable, easy to use, comes with advanced algorithms, has tablet control setup, and includes most of the common test strategies. After initial setup and installation, the operator needs to fill in the user information along with test details like point size, field of view, strategies, and fixation type on a cloud-connected database. The user can now wear our device on their head and the operator can start the test from a tablet. Just like a conventional perimeter, the user has to look at the center and white dots blink around it. The user will be given a response button which they are expected to press every time they see a blinking dot. IVA has real-time eye tracking which not only monitors but pauses the test if the user is not looking in the center, thus ensuring a more reliable report. Alfaleus is an award-winning company supported by the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, VIT University Bangalore, Arvind Eye Hospital and BIRAC, amongst many others in the process of developing this device.
I'd like to conclude by saying the journey was not easy. It was full of uncertainties, fear, and challenges. But what kept me going was the joy of doing something meaningful and support from people like Dr. Venkatesh, Dr. Arul, Dr. Anand, Dr. Swati, Dr. Kavita, Dr. Pavan, and all of whom happened to be here at this platform. In words of Dr. V, I'll say that intelligence and capability is not enough. There must be joy of doing something beautiful. Thank you.